tonight the Khan Market gang has devised a new plot to incite hate and violence. Award Wapsi, Not in My Name and anti-CAA movements didn't bear fruit. Now they are back with a new packaging to incite and actually raise hate and violence in the society. Latching on to the US campaign on Black Lives Matter, the lobby was quick to draw a desperate analogy likening it to Islamophobia. In what seems to be a carefully plotted campaign, the lobby calls for US-like mobilization. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, they have called for US-like mobilization in India. This gang has found fresh oxygen to allege discrimination against Muslims in India. While this brigade will not acknowledge their attempt to spread fear and panic, they are busy scripting a life to incite hatred. Tonight, a slogan that has been coined, Muslim Lives Matter, that is clear divisive and sows the seeds of hatred. Listen in to the reactions coming in on this development.
To comment, to feel for Muslims, for Dalits, for tribals, for migrants who are being repressed or facing such hardships in COVID and outside COVID. You cannot be exclusive. You cannot close your eyes to what is happening in India and comment only on what is convenient.
Now, in India, we have had some cases of this type where the police have taken their powers too far, and they have in fact beaten people. There are cases of custodial death, but unfortunately, the civil society in India has not been that agile to protect human value and human rights as what we are witnessing in the United States today.
So the legitimate question on the news are tonight, who's behind these dubious bid to incite India's Muslims? That's the question and the debate. Hashtag lobby incites Muslims. The debate on the other side.
You're watching the News Hour at 9. Debate number 1 on Times Now. Super Prime Time.
And joining me tonight, GVL Narasimha Rao, Member of Parliament and National Spokesperson of the BJP, Dr. Anand Ranganathan, author and scientist, Aarti Tikku Singh, Senior Journalist, Farooq Khan, Lawyer, Dr. T.A. Rehmani, President, Muslim Political Council of India, Babar Qadri, also lawyer, joining me live from Srinagar. But my first question goes across to Farooq Khan. Farooq Khan, isn't this a new lease of life that has been given to all those Modi bashers who are always looking for some reason or the other? In fact, this lobby, the Khan Market gang as it has been called, didn't even leave the Supreme Court. And I can tell you instances. I can tell you the instance of Award Wapsi, Not in My Name campaign. Also, when the Tabriz lynching happened, they said it is lynching in the name of Ram. And even accused the Supreme Court of prompting majoritarianism. I want to ask you, Farooq Khan, what is similar between Black Lives Matter in the United States and Muslim Lives Matter in India? How are the two to be compared, and do we want in India the same kind of violence and arson that we've noticed in the last few days in the United States of America?
Yeah, thank you, Navika. See, every life matters, whether it is Black life, whether it is Muslim life, Hindu life, or any lives. And nobody will endorse the violence and arsoning which we are seeing in US. But the problem, I was listening to your introductory comments that there's a plot. What type of plot? Should we become an ostrich? Should we not raise the voices for the excess which police does on us? Should we ignore the recent finding of one of the additional session judge while granting bail to one of the accused, and the bail which High Court has granted today to one of the accused in Delhi riots, asserting clearly that the courts are there to see the law, the courts are not there to take the remit that what message goes to society as it was opposed by the Delhi police. Should we ignore what ASJ Dharminder Rana has said, that it seems that the investigation of police is going only on one end? Should we ignore and should we become ostrich by appreciating, I will say, quote unquote, that Mr. Kapil Mishra, the BJP fan, the poster boy, is still out. He has not been yet arrested. The Solicitor General has to say in the High Court that it is not right time to lodge an FIR. Should we condone the statements being made by the Honorable Minister, Mr. Anurag Thakur? Should we condone all these fake and hate-mongering speeches being given against Muslims? So for me, every life matters. There is no plot. We have to come out of this everything that whosoever.
Your time is up. Your time is up. You don't see a plot. You don't see a plot because this whole movement that is now being whipped up is without any any reason for it right now. And Anand Ranganathan, I want to ask you, what is the provocation of Muslim Lives Matter? Because we haven't heard anything in India except that this is now a new excuse to somehow whip up emotion, to somehow whip up violence, because I can't see anything, which recently has happened, which can create an outrage of this kind. And all of these are people who in the past have one common thread uniting them. Each one of them is a Modi hater. And each one of them has used the Indian government to become a whipping boy. So I want to ask you, Dr. Anand Ranganathan, isn't this completely motivated at this time?
Yeah, good evening, Navika. No, of course it is. Not only motivated, but it was entirely predictable. These Magna Cartas of fake news and bigotry and selectivity have been trying to foment riots for 6 years. और अभी तो 4 साल इनको और जलील होना है, minimum. Their every lie has been exposed, their every argument countered, their every hero brought down. But like a hamster in wheel, they keep paddling the vicious cycle. You cannot cure them. They are the Rakt Bij. Their every drop of blood spawns more of the same. One must understand, Navika, the thin lines that divide anarchy, communism and revolution are there for a purpose. Hopscotch. These anti-science hammerheads have perfected the art of jumping from one square to another. Anarchism today, communism tomorrow, revolution forever. They rationalize and justify Naxalism and Islamic terrorism. But cat gets their tongue when you ask them what more than 50 Dalit victims of Muslim mob hate crime and lynchings in the past year should have done. Which street should they have poured onto? What lakhs of Dalits, Gurkhas, refugees, women, Sikhs, homosexuals should have done when they were denied their human and civil rights in Kashmir for 70 years? Or what 5 lakh Kashmiri Pandits should have done when they were murdered, raped and ethnically cleansed from their own land? You see, Naxals can be Gandhis with guns, as their totem Arundhati once called them affectionately, but Kashmiri Pandits can't be. Making matinee idols out of mass murderers like Tipu, Aurangzeb, Mao, Stalin, Che can either be because of one's ignorance or moral relativism. Being congenitally ill-read and hypocrites, in their case it is both. Essentially, these are urban Naxals turned into bourbon Naxals, and their game is up.
Well, I want to name some of these individuals while I'm not naming them in any other way, but to look at the common thread that binds them together. Ashok Swain, academician, who says India needs US-like mobilization to oppose extrajudicial killings of Muslims. Where has it happened? Even arrests that have happened in the Delhi riots case are labeled as Islamophobia. Again, let's look at Rana Ayub, journalist, calls herself a journalist, but she says starlets outraging over US didn't whisper about anti-Muslim carnage in Delhi. Why don't I ask Rana Ayub, where is her tear, even a single tear, for the carnage of Hindu Pandits in Kashmir? Has she ever raised one issue? Has there been one tweet for the Palghar killings? Has there been even one message, tweet, article that they have written for what's happened against Hindus by other people? No, their selectivism should not be pointed out. But anybody else's so-called selectivism is something that they have the freedom of right freedom of speech to express. And joining them is Omar Abdullah, who says, takes courage to bring cowardice to fore when you tweet for US lives and not Indian. What are you talking about? You're talking about the Black Lives Matter, which is minorities in the United States. Mr. Omar Abdullah, why aren't you brave enough to say that you're mentioning, when you say Indians, you're only mentioning probably lives of Indian Muslims? And isn't this completely expected from this lobby? And that's the question I want to ask Mr. T.A. Rehmani. Dr. T.A. Rehmani, it is the Khan Market gang who started award wapsi, in my name only, Islamophobia, anti-CAA protests and violence. Every day you find a new excuse, and now Black Lives Matter in the United States is the new excuse they found?
See, Navika, first of all, we cannot compare United States with India. Their politics, their society, their economy, their culture is quite different, squarely different from that of India. Our polity is quite different from that of US. We have no point to compare with United States, number one. Number two, I don't believe in any kind of a gang in a democracy, whether it is the award wapsi or it is the Lutians or it is the Tukre or whatever. Even if somebody say call the Modi gang, I will certainly oppose that. In a democracy, we are a group or we are a party or we are an organization. We cannot call them as a gang. Gang belongs to some criminals. So we cannot call them the criminals. We have a right to oppose. And that is a legal right to each and everybody. That's why we are a democracy. If we don't oppose, even in opposition, we are silent, then we shall join the treasury benches. So if we don't belong to treasury, we are opposition. So we must be entitled to oppose on the ground, on the streets, in the courts, or wherever in a peaceful manner, certainly.
But why link it to Black Lives Matter? I'm asking you, why link it to Black Lives Matter? And why only about Muslims? Why don't you worry about some other people? Why not about victims, sadhus in Palghar? Why do you have reservations in...
Navika, I personally don't believe in the Muslim life matters or the Black life matter. I believe in the human life matter, particularly in India. I will keep myself confined to India. Whosoever is downtrodden and marginalized,
बड़े लॉफ्टी आइडियाज आज निकल कर आ रहे हैं. GVL Narasimha Rao, Dr. T.A. Rehmani suddenly become the Pope.
If the Dalits are no, this is what I always maintain. If the Muslims are...
Sir, you are a spokesperson, you are a representative of the PFI, and everybody knows how much violence was incited by the PFI, and it is a matter of investigation right now. Allegedly, money and pumping in by PFI and violence has a direct correlation. And GVL Narasimha Rao, आज ये प्यार मोहब्बत का पाठ पढ़ा रहे हैं हमें.
We have a very, then allow me 10 seconds, allow me a few seconds. We have a very clear objective: fight with fear, fight with hunger. It's not about Hindu Muslim. Whosoever is spreading fear, we must have to fight with them.
Fear was being spread by you in the name of CAA when you combined CAA with NRC. GVL Narasimha Rao, please tell me who was spreading fear? Who was spreading fear?
Navika, Mr. Rehmani is singing a different tune today. But I won't grudge him for this. But at least he is making some sense today. But I hope he does not limit himself to only these words. I think the kind of violence that Kashmiri Pandits have been subjected to, the manner in which they have been uprooted from their own soil, what would Mr. Rehmani say about them? What would he say about the slaying of sons in Palghar district in Maharashtra? I think is that not a hate crime? Would he not oppose it? And would he not oppose the crimes indulged in by the PFI? I think they slayed, they slaughtered several individuals in Kerala. They cut off the arms of a professor because he did not agree with their ideology. So what would he say about this? I think is he going
Dr.
to limit
Anand Ranganathan,
only
Dr. Anand Ranganathan, I want to ask you, Dr. T.A. Rehmani is talking about that he is against anybody who spread hate and anybody who's spreading fear. You know, the PFI who he represented during several debates that we held between December last year and February this year, he was representing the PFI, he was representing the SDPI during elections, and these are organizations that have close links to the violence in the Shaheen Bagh.
I always represented SDPI. I do not belong to PFI.
Dr. Anand Ranganathan, the same man is now accusing others of spreading fear?
Yeah, no. No, it is redundant, questioning Dr. Rehmani, my good friend. But can I please, if you please allow me, ask a very small question to my very good friend, Mr. Farooq, if he permits me?
Of course, go ahead.
Yeah.
Yeah, Mr. Farooq, a very small question. If I say that a Hindu man must not be allowed to marry a Muslim woman, do you think, just yes or no, that I am being Islamophobic?
A Hindu man does not allow to marry a Muslim woman. This was your question, doctor?
No, a Hindu man must not be allowed to marry a Muslim woman. Do you think I am being Islamophobic, sir? Yes or no?
No, not at all. As far as marriage is concerned, we are living in a constitutional democracy. I don't believe in the concept of Manu Smriti. I believe in the concept of my constitution, and my constitution guarantees that any person above the age of 21 or 18 respectively, as per their age, they can marry, and there is a special marriage act. I think you must read the special marriage act. It's the law of the land. Number one. Number two.
But do you think it is right? Do you think it is right or wrong? Do you think it is right or wrong to forbid a Muslim woman from marrying a Hindu man? That is the question.
No, not at all. I'm saying you are trying to put your words into my mouth, and I won't fall trap on that. My question is
so. It is not wrong.
Simple. See, doctor, you have raised your question. Now let me respond, please.
It is not wrong for forbidding. It is not. It is according to you.
My dear doctor.
Now, who is Islamophobic?
My good friend.
I know. Now listen.
Then you are wrong. You are.
I know you will not condemn. I know you will not condemn. Chapter 2, verse 221, chapter 60, verse 10, that expressly forbids a Hindu man or a polytheist from marrying a Muslim woman. And you are fine with it. Now, who is Islamophobic?
Absolve Brahman from his religion. To me, a Brahman can get married to a Dalit.
Please don't shift the goalpost. It was a simple question.
Hindu can get married to Muslim.
Are you all right if somebody forbids?
Doctor.
Are you all right if somebody forbids the marriage of two people? If those two people, one of them is a Muslim woman and the other is a Hindu.
Why are you going around in circles? Why are you going around in circles? It's a pretty simple question. Will you allow a Muslim woman to marry a Hindu man?
I think you people have excelled in the art of drawing a circle. You will never question that why Kapil Mishra was not arrested.
अरे डाइवर्ट कर दीजिए पूरी डिबेट डाइवर्ट कर दीजिए simple question being asked Dr. T.A. Rehmani, can a Muslim woman be allowed and blessed to marry a Hindu man? Simple question, Mr. Rehmani.
I answered.
But Anand, my friend, who am I to allow or disallow? It's a question in perception of the choice of the two married people.
Do you agree?
Who am I to stop or allow?
With the
I'm not an
forbidding?
authority. I'm not a judge.
That is the question.
Then why do you ostracize a woman who marries out of the religion, sir?
Marriages in the country, Anand. There are 100. Did I stop Mukhtar Abbas? Did I stop Shahnawaz Hussain? I am nobody to stop them. That is their own choice.
Have
That's
you
what
been
India is
they
all
are not
about.
going to answer this.
Why you are asking this question? I don't understand.
Because
While there
Kerala
is
में तो
bigotry,
love jihad के नाम पर बहुत
In one question,
दंगे होते हैं.
What
their
is the
bigotry?
relevance of this question with this debate?
Let's come back to the moot
Then
point
why
and
is
let
relevant
me
such
ask
kind of question?
let me ask
This
Babar
kind of
Qadri.
debate.
Let me ask Babar Qadri.
This is
I
not
want to
the
ask you
relevant-
Babar
this is
Qadri.
not relevant
Babar
at this
Qadri साहब मैं आपसे पूछना चाहती हूँ. Simple straightforward question is this. What is there to compare Black Lives Matter with Muslim Lives Matter? What about that? And Kashmir is the place where at least you should not talk about only Muslims. What have you done to the minorities of Kashmir, the Kashmiri Pandits, and how you threw them out in 1990, Babar Qadri? After that, for these individuals, intellectuals as they call themselves, to say Muslim lives matter should be a movement in India, you think Hindu lives don't matter, Babar Qadri?
Navika, it's very unfortunate that you have given me just a last few seconds to talk.
You
Rest
have
of
time.
the panelists have been given 2-3 times they were given the chance, but I was kept as mute spectator. Nevertheless, now I will talk about the issue. See, if you think that India is cow and Kashmiri Pandit only, and two sadhus who were unfortunately killed in Maharashtra, it's very surprising. India also consists of the people who are also called Dalits and Muslims, Christians and other minorities. And very unfortunately, you have differentiated India with Kashmir. You are talking about the minorities separately in Kashmir, and you are talking about the rest of the majority in the rest of India. So it's very unfortunate that you are not bothered about the plight of minorities in entire India.
How much
you are
did,
selectively taking.
How much did you bother about the plight of
Kashmir.
minorities in Kashmir, sir? What is your record? What is your
defining
record?
minorities? Are minorities different in India, and is minority different in Kashmir? How are you defining minority? First, let
Because
me know
in
the criteria
Kashmir,
of minority.
Muslims are in a majority, 68%.
See, you
Aarti
are
Tikku
only-
Singh,
see,
Aarti
see,
Tikku
see.
Singh, all these
your
people
narrative-
give
your
us
narrative of
lessons on a
India
daily
is how
basis
Kashmiri
on
Pandits
how
and
minorities
2,000
should be
sadhus.
treated in India.
That's very
Shouldn't we
unfortunate.
show them the
narrative-
mirror and ask them the
your
question
narrative
on
of
how
India,
they treated
2,000
minorities in their own state of Jammu and Kashmir? Is
See,
that
we have not done
shifting the
anything.
goalpost?
See, what
Is that
you are doing
comparing
now.
different
See,
things?
what you are doing now in India, that's very unfortunate. That plight is reaching to the corridors of international uniforms.
Thank you,
That's why
Navika,
you are
for
bearing the
asking
brunt
this very
internationally.
important
That's
question.
why people are raising voice
I want to
against
make
you.
2 points. One, I think by equating Muslims with African Americans, it is a major trivialization of the issue of race in the US. Racial discrimination, racial segregation was prevalent in the US till 50s and 60s. It was only after the civil rights movement that race actually was removed by legislation, and till up to that point it was accepted not only by society but also by the law. Muslims, but Muslims in India have absolutely no idea what they're talking about if they really feel that Muslim lives matter is an equivalent of Black Lives Matter, because Muslims by legislation, by constitution of India are equals in India. They're not discriminated against by the law. My second point is that I have said this several times, and I'm going to repeat it today.
Indian Muslims is not being debated. Why you are only defending? Why the media of India is defending the majority community of India? Why government is being defended?
I did not
Why the plight is not being debated?
Please allow
Why
me
the
to speak.
oppressor is being
Stop
defended?
talking.
Why the government is being defended? Why
Okay, Babar Qadri, Mr. Babar Qadri, allow Aarti to complete her point.
You have no manners.
They are not defending the people. You are defending the state.
I want to ask you, every time you go crying, every time you go crying, can you give me the reason why OIC countries also don't believe that there is any Islamophobia in India? They have said India is a multicultural society and home to over 200 million Muslims. The OIC members have said alleging rising Islamophobia in India is factually incorrect. They have also said Islam existed in India for centuries and it's the second largest religion. OIC members have also said India has forged strong alliances with most powerful OIC members, and you want to question India's record with its Muslims?
That's why international community is taking note of it.
International community is standing behind India. Aarti Tikku Singh, isn't the international Muslim community calling out their...
Absolutely, and my second point is that it's only in India where a Kashmiri Pandit refugee like me who suffered persecution at the hands of a majoritarian community and at the hands of Pakistan-sponsored Islamic terror in Kashmir. I do not get to claim victimhood, but Rana Ayub and the entire group or brigade gets to claim persecution and gets to claim victimhood without having ever known what persecution really is.
Absolutely. Point well made, GVL Narasimha Rao. It is the one card that Anand Ranganathan has always spoken about on debates, which is the victim card. That is used by all these intellectuals, the Khan Market gang as we call them. Each one of them has used the victim card. Have Kashmiri Pandits ever been allowed to use the victim card? And what about those people who die in India and don't happen to be Muslims? What about lynching of non-Muslims?
No. The people who are running a campaign that you have talked about, you have mentioned their name. I think they actually are creatures of political parties. I think I would certainly blame parties like the Congress and their politics. Because can you show me one manifesto of the Congress party, any election at the national level, where the issue of Kashmir Pandits has been mentioned? No. Have you ever heard Sonia Gandhi, Rahul Gandhi mention
again and again? There are n number of people who are feeling who are oppressed in India. Why you are discussing Kashmiri Pandits again and again? That has happened back in 1990s. What is happening in India this time? See what is happening in Delhi. What has happened in
Palghar is happening in India right now. Babar Qadri, one tweet from these individuals about Palghar. Has anybody said 1990, 1984 bhul jaye?
How many Christians are killed? How many Dalits are killed?
What about the Chamba massacre in 1998? What about the Amarnath Yatra that was targeted in 2017? You want recent ones? I will tell you the recent ones. What about 2006, the Doda massacre of Hindus?
See, there is a difference. At one place there is a government backing. When oppression and lynching is backed by government, that is a concern.
Which government is backing? Which government is backing?
See, every killing is condemnable. Every killing is condemnable.
Farooq Khan.
Every oppression is condemnable.
Dr. Anand Ranganathan, Babar Qadri has the audacity to say that Doda, Amarnath Yatra being targeted are different because now Muslims being killed has government backing.
They are attacks.
The government should not investigate the Delhi riots.
When the attacks are perpetrated by state, do you equate them? Do you equate
Mr. Babar Qadri
activities?
Babar Qadri, calm down. Allow Dr. Anand Ranganathan to speak. You've spoken enough. Enough venom has been poured out. Dr. Ranganathan.
No, this is not venom. I am showing you the mirror. You are biased. You are biased.
I showed you the mirror and you didn't want to see it.
Yes.
I showed you the 1990 Kashmiri Pandit, the Doda and the Amarnath Yatra mirror. You don't want to see the mirror either. Dr. Ranganathan.
जो militants ने, जो terrorists ने मारे, आप उनको बोलते हैं? मैं उनका बोलता हूं जिसको
Lower his fader.
अरे भाई
30 seconds to Ranganathan
बाबर
साहब.
साहब प्लीज मैं Navika I have tried. Yes, Navika, I have tried Mr. Farooq, my good friend, and Dr. Rehmani. They have typeset my question. Let me try. मैं Mr. बाबर को भी साथ में लपेट लेता हूँ. It's a good अच्छा मौका है मेरे लिए. बाबर साहब आपको ईद मुबारक हो belatedly. आपसे एक सवाल पूछना चाहता हूँ मैं, if you don't mind. Now you know Kashmiri Pandits, they worship gods. They are Hindu gods. According to you, there is the only God is Allah. So do you think the Hindu gods of Kashmiri Pandits are actually gods? Yes or no, sir?
कश्मीरी पंडित मेरे भाई हैं, आपको कोई राइट नहीं बनता उनके ऊपर सियासत करने का। बहुत हो गया, 30 साल से आप लोगों ने उस पर सियासत की है। You are trying to
भाई है जिनको कभी याद नहीं किया, 30 साल पहले निकाल दिया। ये है आपकी डबल स्पीक। वेल, Anand Ranganathan, it is QED, exposed and proved, hence QED. Ladies and gentlemen, this same lobby has absolutely no feelings for any Hindu pogrom. Otherwise, they would have shed a tear or two over the last 30 years for Kashmiri Pandits and brought them back home. Kya ye siyasat nahi hai? Isn't this politics? That's the real question. Thank you.